This is the Pain Train Preston Quinn, one half of the Extreme Horsemen. And when I want to hear music and entertainment, I come right here. You're listening to On the Fly with Stevie and Warden.
Wow, he got my name right. Awesome. That never.
You are listening to On the Fly.
What's up, guys? Back again after another look at the trailer hood over there. Tonight, On the Fly is back, and we are unfortunately this is something we had planned to do. He was on our list. Yeah, no pun intended, on our list. A while back. What you did there. But tonight we do our tribute to the unfortunately late great Toby Keith, who we're going to do our top 10 favorite Toby Keith songs. You guys out there, feel free to let us know what your favorites are. But unfortunately, Toby Keith, unless you've been under a rock or just not a country music fan, Toby Keith passed away a few weeks ago after a year-long bout with cancer. And if you're on TikTok, because that was the only place I could find it, did you see the hospice video he did?
That's not him. That's not him, supposedly.
Really?
Yeah, I saw, because I looked at it and I was like, is that him? And then I read it. I read some of the comments and they go, no, that's so-and-so. They said it wasn't him. Yeah.
Wow. I was going to say he looks a whole lot different than
Yeah, he looks like a whole other guy.
Cancer did a number on him.
Yeah.
I mean, which it does, but you never want to. Anyway, not glad to hear it doesn't change anything. But yeah, and let me tell you something. Me and you we talked a little bit before, and we'll get into that too in a minute, about how sick and stupid people can be in this world. And after he passed away, just because somebody didn't agree with his political views from years ago, people were celebrating the fact that he passed away.
Yep.
People, I don't care. Look, if me and Warden absolutely hated each other,
which we do.
We do. I would never celebrate another human being passing away like that. Just because I had a disagreement with them on something like that. That's petty, and that's just sick and sorry. I mean, that's a human life.
You're preaching to the choir. I mean, I saw it too, and I saw it from people some friends of mine that I do share some beliefs with. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you're supposed to be more tolerant. You're supposed to be the bigger person. That's what you preach.
Yep.
But just to say that, I mean, I didn't agree with everything he did politically. I still like the guy, but I mean, we don't agree with everything politically, but I mean, there comes a time, and this ain't just one side. I've seen it on both sides.
Yes.
There comes a time when there's shit that is bigger than politics. You watch somebody dying. I mean, everybody remembers the dust up he had with the Dixie Chicks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I read a thing with him one time, which I love the Dixie or the Chicks. I love them. Yeah. I think they're great, but he was in the right in that argument, in my opinion, because they went after him before his song and he just fought back. Then he said he just quit that when one of his bandmates' kid was in the hospital, and he saw it was like Us Magazine or People Magazine, and he saw the fight and he goes, what am I doing? So he's the one into that. And he did things his way. I mean, you had somebody like Tim McGraw, who's probably not to the right like Toby was. He's more, like along like what I am. They were friends. That's what you do. That's what this country has forgotten to do, is that we can have different opinions without, we get in arguments and we have fights, but that's a human being, and if you believe in God, you believe in Buddha.
Exactly.
I mean, this life is only for a little bit. He was 62 when he died. He's 10 years older than me. I mean, that
Very
ain't a
young.
long. That ain't a long time. But I mean,
No.
did he do stuff to piss people off? Yeah, that was his style. I mean, it's like that old Kiss saying, if you know, the more you offend, the more successful you are, or something like that. I mean,
the George Bernard Shaw. I think that was one of the greatest something, but yeah, to offend the most amount of people.
Yeah, it's not cool. It's still a human being. I mean, the guy wasn't like a mass murderer. I mean, he wasn't like,
no.
I mean, he had an opinion. He looked at things his way. I mean, it's like, hell, Willie Nelson could hang out with him. Willie Nelson had no problem with him, and he's the biggest hippie there is. Come on.
Yeah, and he even wrote a song about hanging out with Willie.
Hanging, literally. Oh, you're talking about that one. I was talking about,
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But it's just a shame. I was hoping, when he made that appearance at the country, I think it was at the CMAs a while back.
Yeah.
I thought maybe he was getting better, but evidently it was worse than what they thought. It's never a good cancer to get, but that was one of the worst ones to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle Barber. I'll never smoke weed with Willie again. But
yeah, he outsmoked Snoop. Come on, that's Willie, brother.
Yeah, that's Willie. So Matthew, my co-host, he's got a list up here, but we'll bring that up in just a little bit. Before we get into that, of course, this past weekend was Super Bowl 58. Your thoughts? It pretty much went like I thought it would.
Well, all I can say is the Dallas Cowboys have more one recent NFL Super Bowl win than the 49ers. I'm fine with it. I don't like the 49ers. I don't hate them like a lot of Cowboys do.
Right.
But when George Kittle did his little shirt thing,
yeah.
I mean, he's and I lived in Missouri, so I'm partial to Mahomes because Mahomes is a Texas boy. And I have a lot of family, and they're all Chiefs fans. So they were Chiefs fans when, hard times. And I mean, it's what I do every year. I watch another team that's not mine. I mean, I've been doing that for 30 freaking years. So it's like, but next year we're all in. Yeah, right.
Next year's our year. The confetti will fall on the Cowboys.
I thought it was a hell of a game. I think
it was.
I think it says a lot about them not knowing the plays or trying to blame the coach, but I mean, players should know that. I mean,
yeah.
you pick up you could go to a website and read that. And they fired the defensive coordinator it wasn't his doing, it wasn't the defense that did it.
That's what I said. I made a post and I said, was he really the problem? I mean, my thing was, okay, first half, you're up 10-3 at halftime, but you've dominated that whole first half on both sides of the ball. You should have been up 2 scores at least. When I saw that, I was like, this is not good right here if you're a 49ers fan. And then you come out the second half, the start of the second half for 3 possessions, and you don't run the ball. You get away from the running game, and you go 3 straight 3-and-outs. And no, I'm not blaming Brock Purdy. I thought Brock Purdy did a great job.
Good. He had no interceptions like Mahomes.
The adjustments in the second half, the Chiefs definitely wanted the adjustments. And I don't know how you're a offensive genius, as Shanahan is supposed to be, and you can't figure out that if you throw the ball on third down in the second half, they're blitzing on that third down. They did it, and that got them off the field. But
he's a young man. It took Andy Reid a few tries to make it. So
yeah,
Andy Reid. I think Andy Reid only lost twice in the Super Bowl, but he's already. I guess they're tied for that. Who was coaching? Oh, that was the Harbaugh. That was the guy down in San Diego.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a hell of a game. I just knew when Kelsey got that last first down, and I was like, that's it. There is no way they're going to lose this game.
Yeah.
I mean, and he had like, what did he have? He had the most rush, and it was like, what, 1 yard or something like that, some stupid number. But I mean, I like the game. I didn't like what he did to Andy Reid.
I didn't either.
I get it that you're upset and stuff like that, but I don't know if you listen to the New Heights podcast. Jason called him out on it.
He called him out, yeah,
and he owned up to it. I don't know what else he can do. I mean,
he didn't have a choice, but
Jason kind of said something too. Is like, well, you have a lot of people that never watched football before watching this one for some reason. And I looked at that little cover he did, but he called him out on it. And how badass is Jason Kelsey finding the Rey Mysterio mask on the ground, just putting it on, and just like, did you watch it? I didn't have anything to watch it on. Nobody parties harder than Jason Kelsey. I mean, he's an Eagle. I love the guy though. I mean, you can't help but like Jason Kelsey.
He's gonna, that podcast just for him alone is worth the listen.
I like Travis. I don't have a problem.
I lost a lot of respect for him after that, and I mean,
he owned up to it though.
But that ain't the first time he's done it though. I mean, he's a crybaby, and when just like slamming his helmet down. I tell all my players,
Mahomes did that too.
Oh, I tell my players all the time that helmet had nothing to do with what you just did wrong.
Yeah,
and so.
Well, at least he's not wearing a shirt that says F somebody. So
yeah, well, that's true. Maybe F Taylor. I don't know.
Did you see that? Did you see that thing where they were doing Friends in Low Places, man? God, him and Mahomes were just trashed.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Been there, done that.
How many viewers did the Super Bowl have? Kyle's
120.
Yeah, it wasn't as many, I don't think, as what they thought.
No, it's more. It broke records.
More? I thought I heard it was less.
The Swifties, man.
Oh yeah. Anyway,
probably the only thing bigger than the NFL is Taylor Swift. So, she's pretty big. She played 6 stadiums in a night in a row, and it takes them a week to sell it out. So, just saying. So.
Did you place any bets? Mm-mm. Like on what color Reva's boots were going to be during the national anthem?
No, you know who I'm starting to like? Post Malone.
Yes, he killed it.
I love the Cowboys gear, don't get me wrong. But the dude can sing, and I don't know much about him, but I know he's a metalhead. He loves all kinds of music. I thought
he is. He's in a little bit of everything. If you listen to you talking about are you asking if Warden's a Swiftie fan?
I have nothing against her.
I mean,
I don't know her music.
I couldn't tell you. I could tell you maybe a handful of songs, and I couldn't tell you what album they're off of. I mean, I know she redoes all her albums to get back at the record companies now, so she can have the rights to her music. I don't know.
I'm not a fan of her music, but I'm a fan of the person because she pays her people. She gave her truck drivers like $100,000 bonus. She pays all her staff. She takes care of them. I mean, I know. I mean, she treats her people well, and people that hate that, I mean, they're just two people living their lives. She can like football. She has a right, and it's like we're talking about all the hate that Toby got. Well, there's a lot of hate for her that I don't understand either.
I don't blame her. Everybody's saying she's ruining football. I don't blame her for that. The NFL's the ones with the cameras. They're the one putting the camera on her.
They got more viewers covered. They
exactly. They know what they're doing, but I don't blame her for that. That's not her fault. She's just going to a game to watch her boyfriend play.
I saw some girls were saying that don't watch football or something. They were going, well, girl, that's love because he's all sweaty and she still kisses him. I was like, well, I guess so.
But there was a lot of women that I saw at Super Bowl parties wearing.
I agree, Kyle. 100%, Kyle.
Wearing Go Taylor's Boyfriend and had number 87 on it. So,
well, that's why he was so pissed off because if they would have lost, man, she would have wrote a bunch of songs about him.
Exactly. She's already got the title of the album out there.
Yeah,
so you need to win.
Yeah.
She announced that at the Grammys.
I had a buddy of mine. One last thing about Taylor Swift. I have a buddy of mine that he just hates anything corporate. We're growing up and he didn't like anybody that was popular. Of course, he wasn't a Kiss fan. He liked like these bands like I never heard of before, and he still liked that. And I remember that he was really upset about having to take his daughter to see Taylor Swift. I go, would you rather have her look up to her or somebody like Britney? Nothing against Britney, but I like my daughter. She writes her own songs. She's her own musician. The girl busted her ass to get where she's at. Hey, life's too short. Let her have fun. It doesn't bug me. I don't care either way. I'm a Cowboy fan, so I'm on vacation anyway. So what do I care?
And
it's like Jessica. Are we having Jessica Simpson deja vu? The only thing about it is that Travis and Taylor won. Jessica and Tony didn't, and he left her at the IHOP on her birthday and broke up with her.
Eating chicken of the sea.
And I must say, I am finally understanding why people get annoyed by Tony Romo. I don't know what that guy is on, but my God, he would not shut up. And he used to be, it's like, dude, you're in Vegas mode. I mean, nice guy. I wish we had him instead of Dak, blah, blah, blah. But, dude, chill out. I mean, you got the great Jim Nantz next to you. Let him talk a little bit.
Did the commercial, there was a commercial, you're talking about Post Malone, and probably the funniest commercial I saw in the Super Bowl was, I forgot what it was for, but it was the one where, if you learn one thing, kind of like the old Kelly Bundy thing from a past episode of Married with Children. If you learn one thing, you forget another.
Oh, that was a Jennifer Aniston one, right?
Yeah, the one where she didn't know who David Schwimmer was.
Yeah.
But Post Malone goes by his mirror and looks, and he said,
"No, that wasn't
my face."
That wasn't Post Malone. That was Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll, excuse me, Jelly Roll. That's right.
Dude, get your millennials straight.
Anyway, Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll goes by the mirror, and then he's trying to watch her. It's not coming off. Yeah, I got you, Kyle.
I like the one about the M&Ms that had Dan Marino, the ones that almost won.
Yeah.
And I like the Dunkin' Donuts one. That was pretty funny with Brady.
Oh, yeah, with Brady and
Matt Damon's like, I'm sorry, bro, I can't defend you on this one.
Ben Affleck.
That was and Jennifer. Yeah, that was funny. That was funny. Super Bowl commercials aren't what they used to be. I think there's just so much out there coming at you that it's like we just want to be entertained, but Super Bowl commercials haven't been great since the 90s, probably.
Yeah. Let me tell you this about Kyle before we get going on the Toby Keith side. Let me tell you this about Kyle. Kyle is my co-host on Just Another Sports podcast, which we're in kind of hiatus right now. But he's talking about his wife up here, said his wife cannot stand Tony Romo. She thinks he's weird looking. But let me tell you, this guy, Kyle, he's got a saint as a wife over there. He sent me a picture of what she gave him for Valentine's Day. And it looked like, just like he said, it looked like Christmas. It looked like Christmas.
Wow.
Kyle collects a lot of like action figures, stuff like that. It was like a 4 Horsemen WWE set, action figure set. Then there was like 3 or 4 different car sets, stuff like that. I was like, let me see.
Wow.
What was? Let me look again because he sent me the picture.
Does she have a single sister? Lives in Texas?
Exactly. We'll set you up. Hold on, I'm looking at it now.
I'm glad you didn't call them dolls. They are action figures, Stevie. They are not dolls.
Exactly. I wouldn't do that, Kyle. No, I was not playing with my dolls. No, I didn't see you playing with. It's a Ghostbusters vehicle. A mini Ghostbusters vehicle. Then a Matchbox Back to the Future 3 car.
A station wagon?
Yeah.
Cool.
The Scooby-Doo, the Mystery Machine.
Nice.
Then he's got a Tom and Jerry die cast. And then he's got an M&M's. Gosh. It was awesome. I was just waiting for the. And then at the top, there's 3 WWE Superstars action figures up there. Who was that? Vader, Roddy Piper. And is that Mick Foley? No, it's Captain Lou. Bad I got Captain Lou and Mick Foley mixed up there. But yeah.
Wow.
You better look out for her, buddy. That's all I got to say, Kyle.
Is it his birthday too, or is it just Valentine's Day?
No, it's just Valentine's.
Yeah. That would be funny if she was like, she's hiding from him, like, oh, I found these out at the dollar bin or something. Like, that's why you got them all
If
for.
that I guarantee this Four Horsemen set was not in the.
Is it a WWE thing? Or
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's a long. It's got Flair, Anderson, Wyndham, and Tully Blanchard.
Oh, wow.
And yeah. What a Valentine's present. Jeez.
Would have been cheaper if they would have got the Paul Roma.
Pretty
set.
Paul Roma.
Yeah, pretty Paul Roma set. Speaking of Four Horsemen, I just finished Lex Luger's book. Pretty good.
How was that?
It was good. I think we should talk about it on a triple.
We will.
When
we've got a really good episode of Triple Threat that we're going to do for long.
Did you see my little text after you sent me that? It's like, yeah,
I saw it.
But yeah, we'll talk about that on there. But Lex Luger, one of my favorites growing up. The only thing bad about audiobooks, and I'm at that age where I have to have audiobooks.
You have to get read too.
Is when the author doesn't read it, and it's just he did pretty good, but
somebody doesn't read it, reads it. It doesn't sound the same.
It was a 6-hour book, so it means that it wasn't like there's some books like I'm reading, listen to Ted Templeton's now. That's like 20 freaking hours. It's great though, but I mean, it's like, get to the story, Francis, come on.
Lighten up, Francis. So tonight, we're through with all that other stuff. Tonight, Red Solo Cup for Toby. Yeah, man, I just remember Toby Keith, my first dealing with, I guess, hearing Toby Keith. Of course, everybody's back in 1993, and you loved it, I know. Should have been a Cowboy, which it took off. And honestly, I thought at first that song just took off because the Cowboys were in the middle of their success, their last little bit of success that they had with with Emmett, Troy, and Michael Irvin. And I was like, this guy's probably going to be a one-hit wonder. But boy, was I wrong. Jeez, do you realize now that the week after he died, his greatest hits, the 35 greatest hits, went to number 1 on the Billboard 200 charts.
Number 1?
Number 1.
Damn, he was as bad as Kiss, though. He has as many greatest hits as they do.
Yeah.
I was looking on Spotify. I was like, damn, how many greatest hits does this guy have?
He's got a plenty of them, and some deep cuts out there too. But
the deep cuts make your shot, but make your list.
No, I wouldn't say I hadn't what you would call a deep cut. I don't feel like they're deep cuts. Maybe it's just I've listened to them so much they're not really a deep cut.
Yeah, it's funny because when I was going through this, I mean, I've been a Toby fan since I heard that song and I mean, let you finish how you got into him and stuff. I'll let you.
Well, that just got me into it. Then you hear some of the other songs up there, and I'm not going to get into all of them because a lot of them are on my list. But I did get to see him play live. I think Rascal Flatts opened up for him. Was it 2000? Maybe it was 2001.
I'm sorry.
We went to see him. Well, I like Rascal Flatts, dude.
Yeah, but you like Journey too, so
I like Dokken too. I hate Lynch Mob, but
you hate Lynch, dude.
No, I'm just doing that to get on your nerves.
Yeah, I don't hate Dokken or Lynch Mob.
I can't tell.
I mean, I don't hate Dokken. I don't hate Journey. I just think they're both overrated.
Rascal Flatts is not awful, Kyle.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
All right.
All right. Kyle's my new best friend.
Yeah, but I've been a big Toby fan since then. And I mean, all right. Well, how about you, bud?
Toby Keith. Oh God, I saw him probably about 6 times. He was my. It was weird when in the course of the Metalhead, and then when grunge took over, and I kind of got into pop music, and then I got a job and I worked with all women.
Oh.
So they had country on all the freaking time. So I discovered Shania Twain, of course, and then I remember Toby Keith from the early 90s back with, I remember him doing that that thing I think I reposted on TikTok about the should have been a cowboy did for Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
And so I got into it, and I remember there's a little place called Bluebonnet Palace here. A lot of people have played, and they did some kind of tour with I think Toby and Shania were both on Mercury at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And there were like 3 artists, and I can't remember the third one.
You had it up there.
But that third artist was supposed to be the big star, but I don't never heard from him again.
I never heard of that guy in my life, to tell you the truth. Buddy.
And I honestly thought, I always kind of thought with that happened, and I always kind of thought that Shania and him had something going, because one of the Cowboys games I went to, it was on Thanksgiving, and it was when she had her special. This was back when Troy Aikman was still playing. Guess who sang the national anthem? Toby Keith. But
Gotcha.
I've seen him, and then different shows. I saw him one time here. Blake Shelton opened up. This is back when he had the hair, the mullet. And I remember one time too, this is back early 2000s. He was the Ford spokesman. So there was a thing going that he was putting on a show here where the AT&T Center where the Spurs play, just for Ford owners. And so my boss, I go, hey, you have like 2 Fords. So they were like, we got free tickets to go to it. It was great. So I've seen him at the rodeo. I think he played the rodeo like a couple years ago here in San. Rodeo is really big down here, and it's Texas. Right. So, I mean, the Spurs play. They kicked the Spurs out for a month, so that's even when
that's
they were
right.
winning.
Exactly right.
And but yeah, I've seen him about 6-7 times. Great show. Probably my favorite, especially around How Do You Like Me Now and like his run with that one. I mean, around that era when he really took off. I mean, that was, I mean, he was my guy, dude. I mean, he is not what you call a small guy, so it helped big husky guys like me, So, but yeah, Toby was my guy, man. And I have gotten away from listening from him in a few years. I mean, I kind of go in spurts, like, take it up for a while, but
yeah.
And, when I saw that he got sick and how skinny he was, I started listening to him again. And just like you said, just some of the comments is just like, that's somebody's dad, that's somebody's husband.
Somebody's husband, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, it wasn't like he was he wasn't like he was, John Wayne Gacy, but it's bullshit.
All right, so Kyle is chiming in with his, and he's blocking all of us. Saw Toby in concert 3 times. First time we saw him back in 2009. I literally won tickets. We only went because Trace Atkins was over.
Trace Atkins.
And my wife was a big Trace Atkins fan, and Toby blew me away with his stage performance. One of the best concerts I've ever been to. Fireworks, explosions, everything. This is back when I was still in the Main Street stuff. I wanted to see him twice after that, just because the concert is so entertaining. Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with a Toby Keith concert, I don't think.
I think next to George Strait, maybe, he was probably my favorite. I mean, it's just that was like 1 and 2 for me. I mean, Toby was number 1 there for a while. It's like I love Kiss and I loved Motley, and Motley was there number 1 for a while. But yeah, Toby probably the best country concert I've been to.
So let's get right into it. Let's start off with you and your number 10.
My number 10 is a song that got me into him. It was a little bit after, it was, of course, after Should Have Been a Cowboy. It's a few years later. Because like I said, I was subject to listen to country radio in the mid-90s. And like our buddy Zeus, I think 90s country is some of the best. But this one was a song that they played the hell out of on the radio. And I remember hearing it and I'm going, yeah, I remember him from Should Have Been a Cowboy. It's a song called Dream Walking.
Oh yeah, Kyle said that was his favorite, one of his favorites.
Dream Walking. I remember that he was just in a t-shirt and a video, some chicks there, almost like a ghost. But yeah, the song that really kind of hooked me back because they played it so much, and I kind of started becoming it wasn't probably the big hit like the other ones that came later, but that was what got me back into it. Dream Walking.
There we go. Okay, we lost you for a second, but we got you back. All right. So my number 10 I've got a tie, believe it or not. Oh,
You're never going to get shit from me after the Pulse.
I was waiting for some smart comment, but okay.
You're never going to hear shit from me after the Paul Stanley episode. Okay?
No, we shouldn't. You should say a word. But number 10, tie, Red Solo Cup, comes off Clancy's Tavern. And I mean, it's just one of those songs that I could see if this came out when I was in high school, people would be singing this at parties. And I'm sure they were at parties anyway. But how many Red Solo Cups?
Did you see when that song got popular? Did you see all the the stuff that came out, like what the Red Solo Cup's about? Like they had those pictures of like this, like it's like some kind of measuring. I was like, oh wow, I never knew that.
Yeah, about each thing is a measurement. But
that kind of brought him back. I mean, he was kind of quiet for a while.
Yeah.
That song was a big hit for him.
So he didn't write the song. It was Brett Beavers, Jim Beavers, Brad, and Brett Warren. And Toby's comment of it was the stupidest song that I've ever heard in my life, but it was also freaking awesome. So yeah,
I disagree with that. It didn't make my list, but I think Trailer Hood was probably his worst. When he did that song, I kind of checked out. I was like, okay, that's a little, even though he's wearing like a Dallas Cowboy shirt in the video.
I think, and I may be wrong, the Warren brothers, do you remember them?
Let your love shine. Them.
They did. I know. I think they were the ones that sang that song with Sarah Evans from that movie. What was it? That's the Beat of a Heart.
I know who Sarah Evans is, though. Wow.
Yeah, I bet you do. The movie it was a movie that had Natalie Portman in it. She had a.
That the one she's in Walmart or whatever?
She had the baby in Walmart. Yeah. Kyle said the song you're singing was the Bellamy Brothers.
Oh yeah, okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Hey, they were brothers, right? They were brothers.
Yeah. The video had cameos from Jeff Dunham, Carrot Top on steroids, Ted Nugent, Sammy Hagar, Craig Ferguson, Roger Clemens, another steroid, Eric Church, Joe Nichols, and Larry Bird, among others. So
him and Toby Keith were good friends, because I remember that's how I found out. Him and Sammy Hagar were good friends, because that's how I found out about him having cancer. Because I think that Sammy had interviewed him for his show on Access. If you haven't seen that, you go Google it, because it shows Toby at his house in Oklahoma. Folks, I didn't know Oklahoma could be that nice. And I'm just saying that because I'm a Longhorn and Sooners. But I mean, it was like, wow, he had like a paradise there. And he had like his own bar, his own stage. And Sammy does an interview with him. And yeah, check that out. It's on YouTube. But yeah, Sammy. Okay.
Yeah, no, I haven't done my tie yet.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. They're like 4 more songs on this one, or what?
Yeah, I'm gonna have 40 songs in my top 10, like somebody did in the Paul Stanley version. Anyway, I have a habit of changing my list at the last minute, and I did this tonight. My daughter reminded me of this song, and it was probably one of the last performances he had. And I'm talking about "Don't Let the Old Man In."
It was the last. It was the last.
Well, last on TV. I think he did do a couple of shows after that. But yeah, I mean, it was featured in the Clint Eastwood movie The Mule. It was on his I think it was his last greatest hits album. Greatest Hits, the Show Dog years. But yeah, I listened to it again before we came on, and I was like, this needs to be in here. And but Don't Let the Old Man In.
You heard the story about that, right?
What?
You heard the story about that, right?
What story?
The story about how he wrote that song. That he
I know he recorded it. He was sick.
Oh no, yeah. Well, he was talking to Clint Eastwood about it. And Clint Eastwood, he asked Clint Eastwood, how do you stay so young? And he said, I don't let the old man down. I let the old man in. And that's how he wrote the song. Well, that's what TikTok said. I don't know if it's true.
Yeah.
It's not as reputable. It's not as yes, that's on. Yes, I know what song that is. It's on Tired. I know what song. I know the song.
Not you or Warden, the song.
And not the Ozzy Osbourne, So Tired. I think that's on Shock and Awe, maybe? Shock and Awe or Tired. He had a lot of good deep cuts. He had a deep cut song on Die with Your Boots On. That's a good one.
That's on Dreamwalking.
Okay.
All right. So you're number 9.
It's
a tie.
No, not yet. My number 9 was a big hit for him that I always thought could have been a pop song, maybe a rock song, maybe not, maybe more of a pop song. I mean, this song was everywhere, and the chick in the video wasn't bad either. Because I was a lot younger when this video came out. I was like, I wouldn't mind having an affair with an older woman. I say that now, it's probably not so good. You Shouldn't Kiss Me Like That. I thought that song could have been a pop hit. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, how Rascal Fats butchered that Life is a Highway song. You know, and, you know, yeah, I thought that, you know, somebody could have picked it up, kind of like was that All for One and John Michael Montgomery? I Swear, you know, and
yeah,
I always thought like a R&B band could have done this, or, you know, maybe not, you know, maybe there's a reason why I'm not a producer, you know, who knows? But that video
wasn't the only one. It was like John Michael Montgomery had a connection with All for One because they did I Can Love You Like That, and then what was the other one?
I Swear.
Yeah.
That video was cool because it was like I guess a guy that was like a gardener thinking he had an affair with this hotter older lady, and at the video he wakes up at the end like, "Oh, make sure you clean up before you leave."
Yeah.
Like, oopsie.
I mean, you just see Toby Keith over there smiling, grinning like a yeah. I do like that. That didn't make my list, but it's still it's on my honorable mentions.
You can add it as a tie with another song, Stevie. You still have.
Oh yeah, I'll add it for my number 9 as a tie. All right, my number 9 from the Boomtown album, which was one of my favorite Toby Keith albums, from 1994, released July 19th. Who's That Man? I mean, and you know, a lot of Toby's songs tell a story.
Oh, yeah.
You could really see this happening. A guy driving by his ex-wife's house, seeing a man out there in the yard playing with his kids and his dog.
Stalker. Yeah, the dog, man, that really gets to you.
The dog part, yeah, really. That's pretty bad. You know, that's my house and that's my dog in my backyard.
Who's That Man? Living My Life. Yeah, that made my honorable mention.
You can totally see the story come together. I mean, and then you see the video, and he's just driving through. He's pretty much stalking her, and then singing and playing guitar in a dark room. And it's like, okay, I'm planning it out here, but it's not. Everybody talks stalker song here, but guess what? 2 stalker songs that you never would have thought. I've said it from Def Leppard, 2 Steps Behind. Whatever you do, I'll be 2 steps behind you. Wherever you go, I'll be there to remind you. Just turn around. I'll be 2 steps behind.
I guess.
All right. And then the Police, Every Breath You Take.
Oh, yeah, of course. Rockwell, I always feel like somebody's watching me.
Yeah, that song is crap. That song doesn't do anything if Michael Jackson's not on it.
Man, that's all right.
You know what?
Sorry if Dokken did it. It would have been a hit.
My brother bought that Rockwell, the cassette, not just the single, the cassette. And it is, he's got a song up there about an obscene phone caller.
Oh, he had more than one song?
Now, he only had one good song.
Isn't he the one that sings Cherry Wine? We don't have to take our clothes off same day?
No, that's, believe it or not, I know that name of that guy, Jermaine Stewart.
That's a cool song. I like that song.
Yeah, I do like that song.
We need to do 80 obscure songs sometime. And because I read some lists, I think Tom and Zeus were talking about, they mentioned Party all the time as a bad song. Who the hell wrote that list? That is a great song, dude.
Shit party. I was just me and Kyle were just talking about that song the other night,
That
and I
song's
said
awesome.
I sent him the video to it, and I said, how much cocaine do you think is on that? Has got into that soundboard that Rick James is messing with right now? But yeah, I mean,
when I finished the Ted Templeton book, remind me to tell you a story about Ike and Tina Turner that he did. I mean, I'm still doing it, but it's a pretty good story. Yeah.
You need to listen to. It's a podcast. It's a. You may have heard of them because I think they started in North Carolina, but they've gone. They've been doing it for years. It's a morning show called John Boy Billy, and they've got a guy out there. They do a segment every once in a while called Ask Ike, and the guy sounds like Ike Turner. He's up there giving romantic advice. So yeah, you would love it. You would love it.
Advice. Damn it, Tina!
Right. Number 8 for you.
Number 8 for me. I said Stevie.
I said Dave.
This is a song that I did in karaoke. I remember back in the day when it came out. And it's a song I sing more and more as I get older every year. A song that, God, this song is like one of his best, I think. Just such a song that I never get tired of. And it's like as good as I once was. And the video is hilarious. When, I mean, he's with the girl that he had the twins, one's hot, one's not. And it's like, yeah, that's I ain't as good as I once was, man. Who hasn't sang that song? I mean, yep, I ain't what I used to be, man. But
that will come up on my list a little later. Yeah, that's a great song. I'll talk about that a little bit later. My number 8, and let me pull it up here. I don't know if you would call this a deep cut. It was a single, but it's not one that a lot of people talk about. It comes off of How Do You Like Me Now? I think it may have been the second single off of it. Talking about Country Comes to Town.
A good song.
Yeah, it sounds different. It's up tempo.
Yeah.
And it's
it was a little different for him.
It was. It's got it's got some horns in it.
Yeah, it was I remember the song coming out. It was a big radio hit, but it wasn't his style, but it was cool that he was branching out.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, that was one of them. That was about that time was when Napster was really out. And I'm sorry, Toby, but I downloaded Country Comes to Town off.
No,
Napster.
It's not Toby. You got to apologize to. It's Lars, dude.
So I'm not going to even do my Lars over it tonight. But yeah, that one was, and that was when he was really on fire when that album came out. How Do You Like Me Now comes out, and you're just waiting for something else, and he delivered. But that one has always been a favorite of mine. Country Comes to Town is my number 8.
It's funny, that was one of my favorites, but didn't make my list, and I forgot about that one. There's so many.
Oh yeah, it's hard to leave out some of these. I mean, so many of them that I saw after the fact. I was like, God, I should have put that in my list. But no, I'm not going to do any tie. I'm not going to do 40 ties.
Speaking of which, How You Like Me Now? That I remember when the song came out, and I remember the video. The video is hilarious, and he's got the younger him, and he's dancing, and he's like this. He's like watching him dance. He's like, oh.
Is that your number 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he sees his younger guy dancing with those moves and stuff like that at the end, and he's like, hey, but I mean, whoever got the girl and the younger girl, they had to be related because they look. Yeah,
they are identical. You could definitely say, that could be a mother and a daughter right there.
Yeah, but that kid looked nothing like him. I mean, it was like, but it was funny with everybody in the who wouldn't want to say How You Like Me Now? I mean, I remember when that happened, and I remember thinking, I didn't finish college, and I mean, honestly, I never finished college because it's too damn expensive, and I worked my ass off to get like stuff, and I
Yeah.
got experience and stuff. And I always felt accomplished. And this song always like, how do you like me now? All the haters. It's like F the hater.
Yeah, I mean that's a little bit further up on my list as well, so I'll talk a little bit more about it then. But that really started the Toby Keith
Yes.
craze then, especially the video. Like I said, I'll say to this day, the video had so much to do with how if they were able to make videos more today, I think songs you'd be more into some of these new bands. I mean,
Yeah, I think you're right, because that's one of the things that's really missing is videos. I think.
exactly. I mean, whether you do it on YouTube, just do it on YouTube and put it out on your YouTube channel and promote it there or not. I mean, I know it costs a lot, and the record, you don't have these record labels to get behind you and give you a budget for them like you used to. But that gave you a little bit of a personal feel with them, and then when you put a story to it, just like with this one. Yeah. I mean, just like you said, how many people have said that in their life before that song came out? How do you like me now? So,
that thing about it is that, I mean, I'm old enough to remember, like, you heard, I mean, you wouldn't ask somebody, like, I remember late 80s, Fool for Your Lovin', Whitesnake came off Slip the Tongue. Somebody didn't say, hey, did you hear that on the radio? They go, hey, did you see the video?
Yep.
I mean, we're from that generation to where, hey, did you check out that video? I mean, you didn't ask if you heard it on the radio, because there's a lot of shit like Kiss, they didn't play on the radio. They had to see the video. And that's what I think you're right. I think that's why music doesn't sell, is because that medium and everything's on YouTube and your phones now, that you don't have that thing of surprise anymore.
And I mean, like I said, if they would just have like a YouTube channel and they could make something like that, even if it's a really good shot, really professional looking shot, a concert video, because they would do that from time to time.
Yeah,
put that up there, make a single from that. I think it would help.
I'm with you.
Yep. All right, number 7 for me is off of Pull My Chain, May 31st, 2001. It is I'm Just Talking About Tonight. I'm not talking about hooking up and hanging out. I'm just talking about tonight.
Easy now.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this song was another one that he had the whole bar scene figured out.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, just no pun intended. I love this bar, the song there, but
get drunk and be somebody.
Exactly. I mean, just like As Good As I Once Was. I mean, that was, that he had most of that was about hanging out at the bar with his friends when he was younger.
Yeah, because that's the song you put on. You're playing darts or pool with your buddies. You put on back when it was safe to go to bars. We were just talking about that earlier. Yeah. I mean, it's like you sit there and you put on Toby Keith, you put on Merle Haggard, you put on Hank Williams. I mean, that was the kind of shit that, this song.
Yep. It said the inspiration for the song said, I used to make my living in clubs, so I had ample opportunity to watch a lot of tomcats hit on the ladies. The woman in the song says, well, I don't like bars and I don't usually do this. It's not saying go and get into bed. It's saying skip the BS and all the other chapters and the heck with why we're here. Let's have an understanding. This is about right this minute. We're lonely. Let's talk. It may not be politically correct, but it's honest. So in that regard, it's very representative of who I am. So the video, they take that in an airport hotel ballroom, and he's up there performing while other people are trying to hook up. And of all people that is in that video, Pittsburgh Steeler former quarterback Terry Bradshaw is in that video, so which makes it even that much better. But yeah, that's my number 7.
You're probably not going to see Roger Staubach tending bar in that video.
I don't think that would be that. I don't think you have to worry about that. Staubach wouldn't be out past 9:00.
Yeah, he's like me. Yeah, I remember this song. I remember I saw it on I'm a lady looking for a man in my wife. I make a good. I mean, this was a time in my life when I was in my 30s that there was a thing when you're single. You had a lot of girls, and I say older, that wanted to have a kid, and they didn't care. They wanted a kid. They didn't care if they had the man. So there was a lot of opportunities, and I must say I escaped that easy now. I mean, there was a time in my life to where, I was drinking a lot, and knowing that it was an accident, I kind of prepared, you know what I'm saying? But I like that part. I like that part where, I don't know, at the same time as when Terry Bradshaw started, I don't know if it was this or a video that he's talking about sushi, and he goes, hell, where I'm from, they call that bait.
I think that is that video.
Yeah.
I think that is it. All right. Number 6 for you.
Number 6, we talked about it earlier. First song I remember from Toby. Should have been a cowboy. That song,
that would kill your list.
You kind of think about how great, think about like you have the Chicks, you have Shania Twain, Tim and Faith, George Strait, and this is the most popular song or most played song, I guess, of the 90s. That is saying something as great as 90s country. What you got, Brooks and Dunn. I mean, think about all the great music that came out of the 90s. Rascal Flatts.
90s country is probably the best era of country that I've been around for, at least.
I mean, country was so popular.
I don't know what you were.
I was like, I mentioned Rascal Flatts. That's why I was, I'm kidding. And country was so popular. Hell, Kiss did a country song with Garth. I mean, he did their
song. Woman.
Which is another question: is why wouldn't they ever release that as a single? That was a great version. But
I agree.
And it's on every 18 box sets he releases. Have you noticed that he releases box sets all the time? It's all the same shit. People keep buying it. But
speaking of, okay, go ahead.
But should have been a cowboy. Should have played with. He mentions Troy Aikman, and in the video we talk about and stuff. But God, what a great time to be a Dallas Cowboy fan.
Yeah, those were the days. Those were the days, bud.
Hey, you haven't won one recently.
No, it hadn't been 30 years.
Hey, but we both won more recently than San Francisco.
That's true. This is true. Just going to get a little bit off subject here, but you mentioned Kiss. Did you see the big thing there? You didn't see where you sign up for an update from Kiss Online. There's a 50th something for the 50th anniversary coming.
Yeah, whatever.
I think it's tomorrow. So I don't know what it is, but the guys over there at Shout Out Loudcast made the comment last episode that there was going to be a vinyl release. It was going to be expensive, and they didn't think the Kiss Army was going to like it. So
yeah, that's. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. Yeah, right. I saw something too that they have something to. It's going to be like $200 to join their. I guess they're the same people that do Vinnie Vincent's fan club are doing Kisses now with $200. But
$200, they better have a streaming service.
But the thing about Kiss is that I'm kind of over it because it's like, what else? I mean, if they do another box set, yeah, but I mean, I have all the vinyl I want. I'm not a vinyl person. I just like the pictures. Yeah. But it's like, I don't think there's much of anything that can get me to overpay for anything anymore.
Got you.
That's just me.
I got you.
So they obviously know what it is, I guess. So maybe, and they don't think we're going to like it. I kind of trust their judgment. So I think they may be right.
I don't know. I couldn't get out of them what it was to be, but I did send Tom a text today. I said, is this what you were talking, the vinyl we're not going to like? It's going to be so expensive. He said, yeah, I think so. So we'll see.
Was it going to be like 18 versions of different colors like Ace?
Bubblegum variant. Cow makeup variant. They're going to have a little bit of everything. My number 6 is a repeat from yours earlier. I think it was your number 8. As Good as I Once Was. I mean, we're getting to the age now where this is like our anthem. This is the old man's anthem right now. I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm good once as I ever was.
And hell, I mean, hell, when it came out like 20 years ago. Hell, we thought we were old back then.
Well, I wasn't the good as I once was part yet, but yeah, I'm probably there now. Toby Keith and Scotty Emmerich, who has a lot of songwriting credits with Toby Keith, a big part of his band back in the day. But yeah, probably one of the best parts of the songs. Hey, buddy, how about a helping hand? And I said, Dave. I mean, just the two verses, like I said before, tells a story with the twins, and then with the big fat biker man and a couple of redneck boys. Yeah, this is just a freaking bar story right here. 2 nights. This could be 2 nights at a bar right here. One night went good, one night didn't go so well. So, but yeah, Toby Keith is as good as I once was.
Who hasn't had those?
Yeah. Who hasn't had those?
I was always lucky because fighting, I was never much of a fighter because my humor always kind of saved my ass, and there's some times I should have got my ass kicked, and sometimes because of my humor. So it's a double-edged sword, I guess.
All right. Number 5 for you.
Number 5 for me is a tie. These two songs, oh, shut up. You already had one. These two songs were sister songs to me. I just, just two of the most gut-wrenching heartbreak songs there are. And I think it's because they weren't too far from each other, and I was probably going through a breakup at the time. I ended up single, but I had a lot of strikeouts along the way too. I didn't get to where I was, by cruising. It's a Little Too Late and Lost You Anyway. I just think those two songs are just, they're like sister songs because it's like A Little Too Late. That's the video where he's, what's that video where he's putting the girl with the, is a girl, he's in the cellar and he's like talking to his wife and everything. Was there somebody famous in that? Because I know Heather Locklear was in a crash here tonight, but there was where he was putting all this, he's singing to her and he's covering up with bricks, but he's on the wrong side of it. He's like,
oh yeah.
But I can't remember who was in it with him. And Lost You Anyway, it's like I could have done everything right. And who has ever felt like that? And you still wouldn't have gone with me. I've had that happen, But those two songs, I think those two songs to me, just like shit that I just played over and over and over again. Because I was talking to a buddy of mine that he's really in the country now. And he doesn't understand why I'm not into country as much as he is. They go to Luke Combs and they went to Gary Allen last night. And I was like, it's a Wednesday night, man. I don't go to things on Wednesday night anymore.
Yeah, as good as I once was.
And yeah. And they're all him and his wife are really in the country. And he goes, you don't like country anymore? He goes, when I was in the country, big time was about 20 years ago when I drank a lot more and a lot more depressed. So it's like now I'm not really as depressed and I don't drink as much. So that's my two. That's my tie.
Okay. The girl that's in the video you're talking about, her name's Krista Allen. She's best known for working in Days of Our Lives, Baywitch Hawaii, and the TV series Emmanuel Space. Oh, she's on the movie Liar Liar. She's the one he gets in the elevator with.
Oh, that's what I remember.
I was going to say, all I had to do was say that, and I know you remember exactly what you were.
Everybody's been real nice. That's because you got big jugs.
So now, from December 2021 to November 2023, she played the contract role of Dr. Taylor Hayes on The Bold and the Beautiful. I didn't know that. I haven't watched The Bold and Beautiful in a long time.
That's what was the name again? That girl's name?
Krista Allen.
Yeah, she was on Bold and the Beautiful. That's her? That was the one on Liar Liar? Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she there was a girl that I used to watch Bold and the Beautiful, but there was a woman on there named Hunter Tayo. She was like the original Taylor. That girl was
Yeah.
gorgeous, but she messed up herself with plastic surgery. So they brought
Plastic surgery.
Yep.
All right. Ooh, excuse me. My number 5. And this kind of set the, maybe what you would feel like the bad feelings for Toby became because he gave his stance on it. But it also solidified a lot of this country together. Talking about courtesy of the Red, White, Blue, the Angry American. I mean, comes out after September 11th. This is released May 27th, 2002. And I remember seeing this on when we went to see him play. He ended the show with this, and man, are you talking about goosebumps? And I mean, they had fireworks, pyro going off, and people were just, that place was loud, and it was outdoors. It was loud. But this is just one of those songs, and ABC invited him to sing this on some patriotic special in 2002. Peter Jennings requested he soften the lyrics of the song or choose another song to sing. And of course, Toby said no to both of those and didn't come sing on that special. I mean, if you're gonna do a patriotic special, and this song is just about what how a lot of Americans. I'm not going to say all Americans, but a lot of Americans felt at the time. I mean, he represented a good part of us, but
Well, I mean, if you're not pissed off, you're not alive. After that happened, I always remember that.
Yeah.
I always remember when that Peter Jennings happened thing. He goes, Peter Jennings, ain't he Canadian?
Yep, and he's right. He did an interview with CBS, and he gave his take on the song. It wasn't written for everybody, and when you write something from your heart, he said, I had a dad that was a veteran and taught me how precious our freedom is. I was so angry when we were attacked here on American soil that it leaked out of me. Some people wept when they heard it. Some people got goosebumps. Some people were emotionally moved. Some cheered and turned their fist in the air. I mean, you hear him talking about his dad in that song too. My daddy served in the army where he lost his right eye.
Yep.
And got feedback coming in somewhere. What are you doing in there? Are you electrocuting people in there?
I saw a lot of people were like talking about Toby with this song. It's like, well, he was a Trumper. Okay, he supported Trump, but he also played the Bush inauguration and he also played Obama's.
Yeah.
So he was an independent. He has a right to do what he wants to. You know what I mean? It's like Garth Brooks when, he's not, I mean, I think he played different ones. They gave him shit for that too. You should have a choice to be what you want. And just because you disagree with somebody doesn't mean, that they're burning in hell. But
exactly.
This song was never one of my favorites. I thought it was cool, but I thought it was a little, I don't want to say it was cliche because I think it means more than that. It just never was one of my favorites. I like the part at the end, we'll put a boot in your ass because it's the American way. Because I know that pissed people off. It's like, if you're not pissed off what happened in 9/11, then you're not living, dude. You're not alive. A lot of innocent people died.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like, it's like if people write songs about, turning the other cheek or whatever, that's how they cope with it. Toby just wrote it his way.
And that started the whole feud with the chicks. They come out and Natalie Maines comes out and said the song was ignorant and it makes country music sound ignorant, which I didn't see that. I mean, there's a lot of songs out there I could probably think of that sound really ignorant, and this isn't one of them. And then she started wearing the FUTK shirt. And like you said, he publicly declared in August 2003 he was all done feuding with her because I guess there's more important things than that to concentrate on. And I mean,
that was pretty funny though. Yeah, he had the her with Saddam Hussein. That was funny.
Well, they were taking shots at each other for sure for a while, but I think that was they actually showed that at
Well,
the
we talked
conference.
about that on the we talked about that on the chicks episode
Sixth episode we did.
about how she said something against the president at the time and they were death threatening her kids. People need to chill out.
People just chill
Down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Number 4 for you.
Number 4 for me, we talked about it earlier.
4 for you
is Beer for My Horses. I mean, how do you not like a song about justice, saloons, and singing with Willie Nelson?
Justice is one thing you can always find.
Who sings that again? Keep it that way. That was a big hit. That was a big hit. It was. I remember when this song came out, people were like, "Well, I think that's below Willie." I'm like, "Shut up! That's not below Willie. Willie's not
below Willie."
Yeah, because it was supposedly racist. It's like he doesn't mention anything in that, It's like you can take it the way you want to, but there was a time when you did something wrong, they hung you without a trial. There was no DNA evidence. It's like I don't know if you ever saw the movie Lonesome Dove. Is one of the saddest parts is when Robert Ulrich goes off with these bunch of guys and they're horse thieves and. You steal a horse back then, man. I mean, they string you up, man. I mean, they're
exactly. That was big time back then.
Everybody always says that there are a lot of innocent people in prison. Well, there are probably a lot of innocent people that got hung. You know what I mean? Just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. But it was about that. It was an Old West song. I mean, it's like, is it politically correct? No, but that's the way it was back then. Hell, Led Zeppelin sings about it. Gallows Poe, Styx sings about it. Oh, mama, and a fear for my life.
Yeah, this is also my number 4. So,
oh wow.
I mean, it's just a great song, and like we talked about it earlier, the video makes it even better. I mean, it's like a movie with Toby Keith and, gosh, that's Core Nemec. I don't know if you remember him from what was the name of that song? Name of that show. Fox had it.
Party of Five?
No, it was a funny show, and he was a teenager then. Hold on. Parker Lewis Can't Lose. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
That was the guy?
Came back on 1990. He was Parker Lewis, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then, they're investigating a killer, a serial killer. That's preying on women, and they run into where they can't figure it out, so they go to Willie Nelson, who is like the old pro.
I really need your help this time, Dad.
Yeah, I really need your help this time, Dad. It's Toby Keith's dad in there, and they figure it out, and they get Core Nemec to dress up like a hooker, and they set the guy up. And then, of course, at the end, Willie Nelson saves the day, pulls a gun on the serial killer, the old gun.
It's funny. It's funny about that is like, I remember MTV at the time, and they're all pretty much the same, wouldn't show Gene Simmons, breathing the fire, but they'd show Willie Nelson holding a gun in somebody's face. Bet they wouldn't do that nowadays.
Yeah. This ended up being Toby Keith's 11th number 1 single and Willie Nelson's 23rd.
What year did it come out?
And it came out in 2002, and it was Willie Nelson's first, or 2003, excuse me. It was his first since 1989.
All the girls I've loved before.
No, actually, it was a song called "Nothing I Can Do About It Now." I've never heard of it.
You haven't heard that one?
No.
Yeah,
I'm not. I haven't listened to many.
Yeah, I think you don't like Willie, dude.
I mean, it's not that I don't like him. I just didn't listen to much Willie Nelson back in the day. Country in the 80s wasn't something I listened to. It was the 90s that I got back into country.
You're an Elvis fan.
Yeah.
Settle a debate for me. I've had one before. Which version of Always on My Mind is better, his or El Willie's?
Oh gosh. That's a tough one.
I like Willie's.
I guess I'd have to go with Willie's because I mean something about it I like better, but I mean I'll probably catch hell for that. But
I saw Willie
yeah.
Nelson at the rodeo a couple years ago, just after he got real sick, and I was glad I finally got to see him. But the one thing that stood out for Willie Nelson is we were kind of back at the rodeo, and they were playing with the monitors going on, and the light was going off. That dude had the longest arm hair. It was like that high. That's the only thing I'm gonna remember from that concert was like, God, dude. I mean, it's like he had that long hair, man. He looked like Kerry King. Remember when Kerry King used to have those spikes and Slayer? That's what it kept reminding me of.
And you know, we didn't talk about this, but the song ended up being adapted to a movie.
It did?
Toby Keith was actually in it, and Willie Nelson was in it.
Oh, was it one of those CMT movies or whatever?
CMT movie, yeah, CMT movie.
It'd probably be horrible.
I think I did watch it. I don't think it was that.
You were the one that watched it.
Yeah, I was the one guy that watched it. So they probably should have stuck, and I don't think they stuck as close to the script of the video as they should have. So that may have been what it was.
Oh, sorry, man. I was too busy watching Gambler 7 with Kenny Rogers and Reba McEntire.
Gambler 7.
He did that. He had a lot of music.
Look at this. Should have been a Cowboy, got to be number one. No, it does not. Just because you're a Cowboy fan, Eric Sawyer, doesn't mean that. Well, I mean, maybe it'll be number one when the Cowboys win another Super Bowl. I mean, maybe it'll go back to number one on the charts.
Why you got to go there, dude? You know, it's like, it's like, you wear a hat, and it's,
I'm proud all the time. See, I don't.
And I will tell you this: the guy that won the MVP or the defensive player, he deserved it. You know why? Because Michael Parsons said so. What's his name?
Oh yeah, Michael Parsons. Yeah, you go back and look at the freaking stats. Nobody has shitty golfer on the list. What is it? Who is that? Identify yourself up here, please. I don't know what shitty golfer is. You have any idea, Warden?
Nope.
No, I don't know. Maybe it's the song we're missing.
I played golf one time, and I'm a shitty golfer, so it could be me.
Well, I hadn't even played around, and I know I'm one. So, all right. So that was both our number 4. So you're number 3 now.
Number 3 is what I ask you every week, Stevie. Who's your daddy?
Oh my God.
Who's your daddy? Probably like the one of my all-time favorite songs. I love the video where he's in there and driving the truck and everything, and got the hat on and the jacket and the sunglasses, and drives it to the house, and there's a girl in his house, and who are you? Oh, Mr. Keith. It was Cletus T. Judd that was mowing the lawn or whatever.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So
there is a song. It's a Toby Keith song called "Shitty Golfer." It's off the Buff Songs album.
We're not talking about shitty golfer. We're talking about our list here. Come on, dude. I'm talking about who's your daddy.
Well, I was just checking to make sure. That's Brian. It's my buddy Brian. So
who's your daddy? You like the song?
Yeah, I like it. It's one of my honorable mentions.
All right. One of my favorites.
Yeah, but it just didn't make it. Yeah. My number 3 is a repeat. And it is like the ultimate class reunion anthem. How do you like me now? You talked about it earlier. Everybody wants to say that. How you want to, just like in the video, I heard when I went, you made fun of me. When I went off to Tennessee, I heard that you made fun of me. Never imagined I'd make it this far. Then you married into money, girl.
It's a cruel and funny word.
I mean, anybody, you always want to go back to that kind of girl that you knew in high school and say, hey, guess what? My life's a whole lot better than yours is now. I bet you wish you had went out with me back in the day. So
that's even when he won that video, because he got overlooked for so long, and then they couldn't ignore him anymore. I mean, he went from like he was the biggest with that big song, but they ignored him, you know. And then he won. They had to like pay attention then.
I will preach on. Let's see the video. Let's see if they talk about the woman in the women in the video. If we were talking about earlier, they don't have anything up here about them. And of course, Cletus T. Judd does a parody of it called "How Do You Milk a Cow?" The Weird Al of the country, music industry.
I wouldn't give him that much. He's not funny. He's just not funny. Weird Al's funny. You know, what was that other one he did? It's a Good Day to Be a Guy. I mean, dude, come on, dude. I mean,
yeah, that was kind of
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, number 3 for me is "How Do You Like Me Now?" All right, number 2.
Number 2 for me is a song that I'll always reminds me. We talked about 9/11 earlier, but this is a song that was a big hit too. That it was kind of the I don't know. I don't think he necessarily wrote a follow-up to. I mean, I think it was kind of a follow-up to The Angry American. Mm-hmm. It was a song about reflecting. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're pissed off, but you know they don't give him credit for writing this song. I mean, it makes you reflect on life, how short life is. And, you know, take that little time to do, play catch or, do something, call somebody up, say hi. It's My List. That song, I mean, it really just, when I was going through something, I put that on because it's like, yeah, we're not here a long time. He's like, be thankful for what you got. You have the Angry American, you get pissed off and everything. Then you take a moment, take a breath, a little bit, time goes on and you take a bow and you're thankful for what you have. So, yeah. I mean, I think it says a lot about the guy, anybody that points out, the Angry American, you ought to point this song out too. This is a remarkable song. This song just missed being my number 1, but this is one of my favorite songs ever. Country, whatever. It's a song I play even when I kind of got out of country. It's My List, man. I mean, it's just I probably do everything except put that extra 5 at church. I probably take 5 out.
Lord have mercy, you heathen. Yeah, that didn't make my list, but it's a
My list didn't make your list.
My list didn't make my list. My list didn't make my list. If that makes any sense at all.
Really,
but that that's one of them that you're like, how did I leave that out? But you could we could have done 35, made our own Toby Keith 35 greatest hits album if we wanted to. But
that's kind of like Country Comes to Town. I can't believe I missed that one. It's like, wow, I didn't make my attention.
All right, my number 2. It came off his debut self-titled album, and it originated from a Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band lyric from out of the song "Against the Wind." You know what it is?
Yeah, I know what it is. I think it's my number 1.
Oh, really? I wish I didn't know now. And I mean, the lyric is, I wish I didn't know now what I didn't know then.
Yeah.
But it's a song, it's talking about how he suspects his girlfriend's cheating, and now he found out his suspicions were right, and he wished he could go back and wish he didn't know now what he did know then. And I mean, the song just makes sense. I mean, it's a great song. And it's not a slow song. It's an upbeat song. I'm not saying that you could never be true. I just don't want to know how it ends. I mean, you still have my heart in the palm of your hand. I still look like a fool in front of your friends. Everybody, I think, well, a lot of people that look like me and Warden have probably been there before. And
been there. I'm still there, bro. I've been there. I'm still there, bro.
So
I never left.
It's something you can relate to. And I mean, a lot of these songs a lot of these songs you hear me talking about on any of my list is the ones at the top I can relate to better than some of this other crap that's out there. But yeah, Wish I Didn't Know Now is my number 2.
You know, it's funny when you mentioned Bob Seger. I was listening to Bob Seger the other night, and I switched over from Apple Music to Spotify because I found out they have audiobooks, and you know me, I got to be read to like a child.
You got to be read too.
That
Get your
song,
warm milk out.
that song, Night Moves. She used me. She used me. I used her. And didn't care. We were getting our share. I heard that. I'm like, oh my God, that song's dirty as hell. But that's, you know, but Wish I Didn't Know Now is my number 1. It's probably my favorite Toby Keith song. It's a song that, you know, who hasn't felt like an idiot? Well, I mean, you know, back then I felt like an idiot. Nowadays I try to be an idiot. So that was a song that I did in karaoke probably more than ever back in my drinking days. And, you know, Lord. I was like, I wish I didn't know now. And I'm sitting there belting my heart about some chick that probably off getting her share with some other dude. So it's like, yeah, I'm glad I wasted time on that. But that's a song that, you know, you go back and you look at it and you go, God dang, Toby had a badass mullet, you know, for back then, man. I mean, it's like, dude, you know, there was you know, they talk about, you know, short in the front, party in the back. That whole haircut was partying, dude. That was just frizz could be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Wish I Didn't Know Now. Still one of my favorite. I love the intro. I mean, it's just, yeah, the Bob Seger song reminds me of that. But Toby Keith, you know, an entertainer, but he's a hell of an entertainer. He's a hell of a songwriter too.
Hold on. There you go. You went away for a minute.
No, I can hear
what's
you.
What's going on tonight?
No, you pay that internet bill, Stevie.
I won't say anything.
But Toby was.
I know.
He was a hell of a performer, but he was a great songwriter. That's what I said.
Oh yeah. All right. So my number 1, and this probably isn't even in your honorable mention.
Please don't say what I think it is. Please don't say it.
What?
I hope it's not what you say it is.
South American Ride.
Okay.
From 2009.
Okay.
You know what it is?
No, I'm just glad it wasn't. I want to talk about me because that is a horrible song.
No. This is you know, talking about relating to stuff, and this one song. As soon as I heard it, he did it as a tribute to one of his friends that had passed away. I'm talking about "Crying for Me," Wayman song. It's about. I don't know if you remember. You know, Toby's a big Oklahoma fan. You know, and
yeah, we all have our. But he's a Cowboy fan, so you can forgive for that. So.
Well, Wayman Tisdale was a big basketball star at Oklahoma and was one of Toby's good friends. He was a jazz musician, and he passed away untimely death in May in 2009. And Toby wrote a song about it.
Okay, I think I remember that.
And it starts off with Wayman Tisdale's answer machine outgoing message. And you hear Wayman up there talking, and the song is just about. One of the lines is, "I'm not crying because I feel so sorry for you. I'm crying for me."
I remember that song.
Wow. And he talked about he couldn't cry. Said a tear he couldn't find until he started writing the song. He said, "A tear I finally found." And he was supposed to sing this at his funeral, at Wayman Tisdale's funeral, but just couldn't do it. And but man, the video has some clips of Wayman up there, and it talks about it's a little joke. Wayman Tisdale played his guitar backwards. He said
like
left-handed backwards bass guitar.
Like Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, it's something you can, especially going through what I've gone through this year, and even before that, This song you can relate to. I'm not crying because I feel so sorry for you. I'm crying for me. And it sounds selfish, but it's right. I mean, it's just everybody does it. Um, but yeah, this is just a great song and my favorite Toby Keith song out there. But yeah, sorry to end on a little downer, but yeah, this was just too great of a song for me not to have on the list.
Yeah, I remember that song. I was probably out. I probably hadn't listened to him that much. I think I remember from that album. Is that the one with the bullets and the gun? Is that the one? Is that the one that's on that album? Like
Yeah,
there's
I
a
think
video.
so.
I think that I bought. That's the last album I bought by him. I like that song, but I remember the one you're talking about too.
So while I'm thinking about Matthew, my co-host from the Final Score, gave his list. Number 10, the Sha La La song. Number 9, Bullets in the Gun. Number 8, She Ain't Hooked on Me No More with Merle Haggard.
Good song.
Number 7, I Want to Talk About Me. Number 6, Grain of Salt. Number 5, American Soldier. Number 4, How Do You Like Me Now? Number 3, You Ain't Much Fun.
Hell yeah, I love
Number
that
2,
one.
Beer for My Horses with Willie Nelson. And number 1 was Should Have Been a Cowboy. And he's a Giants fan. Honorable mentions, Trailer Hood, Made in America, and I Ain't As Good As I Once Was. So, go on, Matthew. So, what were your honorable mentions?
My honorable mentions were Just Talking About Tonight. Another song that was around the time I got into him, We Were in Love. It's a good one. Don't Let the Old Man In. Does That Blue Moon? That's when you're thinking about somebody and she ain't thinking about you.
Yep.
You Ain't Much Fun. And Who's That Man?
Since I stopped drinking.
There's another one.
That
There's another one. Have you ever heard the song? There's a song called Running Block. Have you ever heard that one? Okay, my buddy, I'll kind of read this to you. My buddy said his girlfriend is as pretty as she can be. He said he'd help a brother out tonight and double date with me. She's got a baby sister, and they're headed into town. They're looking for a good time. There'll be fun all around. I said, what does she look like? He scratched his head and stated, she was a homecoming football queen before she graduated. Well, wine and dine and do them fine. And really double date them. Then take them back to the Motel 6 and try to separate them. They showed up in a pickup truck. They were right on time. His was kind of hefty, but not half as big as mine. I'm running block. Turn out the lights now. Running block. Don't want to know. Then tried to drink her skinny, but still about 215. Sometimes you got to blow up and just take one for the team. She cleared her plate at dinner and she ate what was left of mine. Then she wolfed down a big cheesecake and drank all the wine. She strolled into the patio for a after dinner cig. I said, bro, you done her this time and bro, you done her, but this time you're gonna owe me big. You know why? Because my brother's having a party. Thought you ought to know. He's got co-ed swimming naked. Reason I can't go. Because I'm running block, turn the lights down, running block. Sure don't know. Anyway, here they. Should I drink her? Okay. When we got to the motel, I knocked up my feet and she put me on her head and says, snuggle up to me. My buddy finished early. When he walked through the door, I was laying there half naked and she had me pinned against the floor. Son, I can't believe you caught me with this big old jelly roll. You laugh at me tomorrow. You can never tell a soul. Yeah, that was a song that he wrote that with Scott Emmerich. I remember that. What album was that off of? but it was. I remember hearing that. I remember hearing that song, and just it always cracked me up because it was. I guess it was on "Get Drunk and Be Somebody." What's that?
Yeah.
But check that one out. It's pretty funny. If Toby was anything, man, he was like I said it earlier. He's a hell of a songwriter, man. I mean, that's just funny, man. I mean, you've been married for a long time, but there are a lot of guys that we've taken stuff for our buddies' teams. So we've had to take some friendly fire sometimes, brother. So.
And that was this week's episode of Poetry Corner with Warden.
That's a funny song, man. I mean,
He's not like Rocky Balboa reading
it just, I mean, say Toby Keith he was so talented, man. And it just 62, man. You know, I'm 10 years away from that, man. And, you know, when I listen to my list on that, because as I get older, I just appreciate life more, man. This one hurt, man. This one really hurt.
It does a lot. And I've talked to a lot of people that say the same thing. This one really hurts. And I mean, you know, cancer sucks. Cancer really sucks, dude. I mean, the fact that they haven't found a cure for that yet, which, you know, I don't get me started on that, but it befuddles me that they haven't found a cure for it yet. But what can you do? Rest in peace, Toby Keith. I mean, you were a class act. You were great. You know, I was a big fan of Toby Keith, and I still am. We hope you guys enjoyed these lists. I mean, and you know, thanks Matthew for sharing his list. Thanks Kyle for sharing some of his stuff. Brian for sharing the shitty golfer. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to the bus tape. So you
gotta listen to the running block too, man.
I'm gonna have to listen to that after hearing your interpretation of it.
Hey, at least I didn't try to sing.
That ought to be something. That ought to be something we do every episode. Just take one song and have Warden read like his poetry, or Warden raps. Warden raps.
No, that would be as bad as the I want to talk about me. That was just horrible, dude. I mean, that made Limp Bizkit look like a
when she starts.
Shut up.
Yeah. So that may end up being a segment on the show. We may read one whole song, just the verses, and see if you guys can guess what it is.
That's a good idea.
Just us reading it. Yeah.
And we're not ripping off another podcast that just reads Kiss songs. So come on.
No, get that straight right now. So maybe next week we'll have.
I don't want to get no cease and desist letter from anybody now.
No, and I don't want to get blackballed by all the other podcasts either. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this week. Like I said, this was our tribute to the late great Toby Keith. Like I said, rest in peace, Toby Keith. Gone way too soon and left behind, but he left behind such great music, and we really appreciate what he did for the country, not just the country music world, but for this world in general.
What he did for the soldiers. I mean,
oh yeah, he was.
You know, you love it. You know, people talk shit about him, but man, he did probably more for the American soldiers than, I mean, most anybody. I mean, he was next to Bob Hope. I mean, you think about Bob Hope.
Bob Hope.
I mean, yeah. So Toby Keith, man, it's, you know, I don't know if there's anything after this life, but, you know, I'd like to, you know, have a beer with you sometime and, you know, shake your hand if there is an afterlife.
I'd like to have some beer with my horses for him. Whiskey for my men, beer for my horses.
Can horses drink beer?
I'm sure they can. A dog can drink beer. Why can't a horse?
They have beer for dogs. You know that, right?
Oh, I'm just saying. Why do you think I said that?
It's stupid.
I've seen it.
I mean, I ain't gonna waste a buzz on my dog. You know,
well, one of them is laid back. The other one, if she had a beer,
I don't know. Maybe I need to. I don't know. Cherokee, she's getting at that age where she shakes a lot as a Chihuahua. So maybe she doesn't. Maybe she needs a beer to settle down.
Yep. She needs a beer to sit back and relax.
Rest in peace, Toby.
Anyway, guys.
Sorry for your flaw and his family. I mean, God, a wife of 40
Yeah,
years and the kids. I mean, God, rest in peace, brother.
Yeah, our condolences go out to his family and friends, guys. That's going to do it for this week. We will see you next time on The Fly.
See ya.